I may not have thought the zipper thing out.
Literally look like you have flappy bat wings.
Can you help me with this one? Thank you.
Not even going to say anything. Absolutely, husband. It would be my pleasure and honor to zip you up. There you go. You look very professional. I'm so glad that your escape hatch is right there, just in case.
Zippers! Welcome back, Clean My Space Nation, to episode number 5 of Dream Home Reno. We made it, and this episode is the very first episode that is going to have a room reveal. We're going to see the transformation of our guest room.
And all future Dream Home Reno videos will have a room reveal at the end of it, so you guys have that to look forward to. I'm not going to say too much more aside from the fact that if you guys aren't following us on Instagram already, you totally should be. I am at Melissa Maker. Chad is at the Chad Reynolds. The two of us are at Clean My Space. And if you haven't done so already, you should subscribe to the Clean My Space channel where you will get cleaning videos and Dream Home Reno videos. All right, let's zip it. You know what? You wear a shirt with zippers. You want me to talk about the zippers. Your zipper shirt doesn't unzip. Okay, everybody, he's ridiculous. Let's get into it.
Back in our bathroom, and the reason why we're back in our bathroom is because this house was made in 1985.
And it's crooked.
As we mentioned in the last video, the walls be crooked. Here's what the bathroom used to look like. As you can see, there was just a shower on the right-hand side and nothing on the left-hand side. Well, we've decided to make the entire back part of the bathroom a shower. And that meant tiling walls that weren't previously tiled and were super crooked. So part of the reason why this job took a long time was because there was a lot of straightening to be done.
Now, our old master bathroom, of course, had tile and the same tile on all 3 walls. But when we were chatting with Igor, he mentioned that the hex tile would actually require more labor for us to put on the front and the back wall of the showers. So what we decided to do instead to save on cost was to use the floor tile on either side instead.
While Igor was taking care of that, we decided to take care of some paint colors.
And we were sort of avoiding this decision because it was so overwhelming, but we went to Canadian Tire, we hit up their premier paint section, and we just started pulling. We kind of had an idea of what we wanted to do in each room, but we had to pick the right shade.
So we had to cover off the dining room, we had to take care of the living room, we had the entryway that we wanted to paint, and also the guest bedroom and our bedroom.
Now this is a super overwhelming decision. So many of our friends and family were like, oh my gosh, I'm having a panic attack for you. It's such a hard decision to pick paint.
Well, and especially when you have access to all colors, literally every color that you can think of. You can see the rainbow of colors on display, and it was a little overwhelming to say the least.
You see things in magazines, you get ideas, but to bring it to life in your own home, that's totally a different story. And I remember we stood at Canadian Tire and we were just comparing shade to shade to shade.
This was one of my favorite parts of the entire reno process, when the guys came in to do the painting and they started by taking care of all of the baseboards, all of the trim, and all of the doors, which were all sprayed white using this pressurized spray gun. It was like the coolest thing.
I wasn't here for this, but just watching it, it's so satisfying. And the thing I love about this spray gun situation is how efficient it is. And when I asked them why they chose this, they said it's because the finish goes on so evenly and so beautifully. So you don't get any brush strokes with this kind of work.
All right, the first paint color that we're going to reveal to you is the green that we chose for our dining room.
Now we wanted to go with a dark, bold color, and I don't know what it is about green, but it just speaks to me.
And I don't know what it is about dining rooms, but it seems like the right room in the house to actually do a really bold color choice.
Yeah, like you don't want to be boring in the dining room. It's an occasional space and you can do something really kind of outstanding in there.
So we thought we'd go with an outstanding green.
Even the painters were complimenting us on our choices, which kind of felt nice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably say that to everybody.
They kind of do.
Great choice, sir.
It's almost like we're paying them.
Right. Now, okay, this was another color that we just knew we had to do. We wanted to go very, very dark in our big great room space because we wanted a dramatic contrast.
This dark gray is only being put on this one accent wall and the opposing accent wall, and the color is called Lift Bridge. So here's the other wall. We decided to leave the fireplace for the time being because we just weren't too sure how the paint would react on the brick, so we wanted to do some research first before getting into that. Here's a good look at the base color, which we are going to use through the common areas and like the hallways and the stair area. This is called Old Cedar.
Now, we spent a lot of time picking the perfect warm neutral, but when we really looked at it, it wasn't too gray, it wasn't too brown, it wasn't too dark, it was just right. Now the bedroom paint was a whole other shenanigan situation.
Here are the three choices that we went with. We felt the one on the left was maybe a little too brown, the one on the right was a little too dark, making the one in the middle
The perfect choice.
The thing I really like about this color is it's kind of a romantic hue, if you will, and I think that's perfect for a master bedroom, but it's not too overbearing, it's not as dark as that other one was.
And it's not overly feminine, right? It can be a little bit purple, but it's not like too girly. It's so gorgeous. I love, love, love this color.
And give a thumbs up if you agree that watching people paint walls is pretty much the most satisfying thing that you can watch on video.
So the guest bedroom was a shade of green, and Chad picked the color for this room, a shade of green. Just a hair darker than what it used to be.
It's outstanding how similar it was to the original color.
Like, I'm gonna say I did roll my eyes a little bit when I saw this.
But I think that's because it was the perfect color to begin with. Well, it wasn't. Now it's the perfect color.
Truthfully, we just needed a gender neutral room, and that's what we went with.
So we started off by not painting the fireplace, and then we found out you could paint the fireplace, so we did paint the fireplace. And then when we had painted everything, we realized that
it was TMI.
It made the fireplace not stand out the way we wanted to. So, at the advice of our painter, we decided to
go neutral.
Just a few weeks ago, this room had carpet, popcorn ceilings, and a muted shade of green on the walls.
And cool window coverings.
1 week later, and there was a bunch of insulation on the floor and no ceiling in sight.
And then the pot lights came through, the ceilings went up, and the work started to happen. This room transformed into the guest room that it is now. Mint Julep was the color of paint that we used. And again, this was Chad's choice. I let him have it. Don't worry,
Look at the
guys.
difference. Look at the difference there.
It's barely visible, okay? Barely visible. Don't worry, you guys. I got my just desserts because I picked the bedroom color and the dining room color, so I felt good about it. Now, Chad's here assembling a bed frame, and you guys will recognize that headboard. That's from our old bedroom.
I also assembled a few side tables that we picked up.
A pair,
Okay,
a couple.
2 side tables.
Now our old side tables from our old bedroom were too large for this space, which is why we had to get downsized ones. But we brought in the old lamps, and essentially we're just going to use this as a guest room for now until it has to turn into another type of bedroom. Now Chad took the art from our bedroom in our old house and put it up in this room, and we'll talk about that configuration a little bit later.
Also brought over a mirror and a little table. You might also remember this cactus from the old CMS HQ.
We didn't want to spend too much money on decorating this room. We just wanted to use everything that we already had. It has to serve a function, but we didn't necessarily want to spend real money on this room.
A few final touches with some bedding and some pillows, and I rearranged the pillows like 50 times because I was never quite satisfied with the way they look.
That's a very Chad thing to do.
Maybe it is.
All right, the room is ready for guests, so friends, family, come on over. You know what, Chad? You did a really nice job in that room. It looks good.
Hey, thanks.
And as we wrap up another episode of Dream Home Reno, here are a few shots that didn't make it into the video.
Well, it did make it into the video because here it is.
That's a very good point, Melissa.
So now that you've seen what happened in the house at that period in time, we're gonna put an end to showing you any more footage in the Dream Home Reno episode number 5, paint reveal and guest room reveal video. But the fun doesn't stop here. First and foremost, we owe a huge thank you to our incredible sponsors, of course, our series sponsors, Armstrong Flooring, for providing our stunning hardwood floors. If you haven't seen them, you can check out the last episode of Dream Home Reno. And of course, to Canadian Tire for providing all of the paint and some other really awesome stuff around the house. For those of you who are not Canadian, you might be saying, what is Canadian Tire?
You're missing out.
Why does a tire shop sell paint? Well, Canadian Tire is one of Canada's oldest stores. It sells all kinds of things from tires to paint to barbecues
gadgets,
and everything in between.
Kitchenware.
In fact, our paint that we got there, it was so exciting to go in there. We would pick out our paint and then we could pick up other little things for the house too. So
Yes.
It was always fun to go and visit Canadian Tire.
And you get Canadian Tire money.
Oh.
And anybody who's Canadian who knows about Canadian Tire money, leave a comment down below.
Chad has a big old stack in his office. Yeah, he can make it rain with Canadian Tire money. Anyway, we'll have all of the paint colors up in the source guide for you. And of course, next week, you can see what we've done in Riley's room and the bathroom,
That's right.
Okay,
Let's rip off some questions, Riley.
rip off some
Rip off.
questions. Like we ripped off that sweater.
I like big tiles, and I
And I
cannot
cannot
lie.
lie.
You
You
other
other-
rabbit. I like big tiles. Less grout to scrub. Was that the reason why you got them?
No. I think it was more a stylistic choice.
Yeah, it's really cool looking.
We just had this vision of, just wait until you see the bathroom because, oh my God, it's so nice. But we just had this vision of this large, these large tiles, very thin grout lines, practically no grout showing. Like we just wanted it to be super sleek. And that's exactly what the floors turned out looking like. So when we chose our tile, we specifically looked for a large one. And in fact, there were tiles that were probably 3x4 that I would have gone for. I think the reason we didn't go for those ones could have been that they were super expensive or really heavy. Like there was some reason why we chose not to go with them. The cleaning, the grout thing didn't have so much to do with it. The fact that we chose dark colored grout, oh, that was intentional.
Out of curiosity, why put the flooring down before doing the painting? Well, in a perfect world, it probably would have gone in the right order, but we were trying to get as much done in a 2-week period as possible. And just the way that scheduling works and the way that I think renos work in general is nothing really goes to plan. So you work around it, and it was it was trim, then floors, then paint.
Yeah, you have a list of jobs that you need to have done. The person that you're working with kind of has a list of suppliers or vendors or trades that are going to get the work done for you. He basically calls and figures out when those two things can happen, plops it in a schedule, and you just cross your fingers and hold your breath and hope that everything goes according to plan. So when we were trying to cram everything in, people came when they were available, and we just wanted to get things done as quickly as we could. So the order didn't necessarily make sense, but it happened, and we're here, so it's all good.
Are you going to show us a full house tour with the kitchen?
Yep, we will at the end of the DAHR series season 1. You get the full tour in the kitchen, but the kitchen's not being redone.
So you're gonna see like room reveals at the end of each of the episodes, and then on the last episode, oh man, it's gonna be crazy. Maybe like an hour-long video just full of like every single room.
And Mickey Mouse and clowns.
Oh, you just wait.
Special guests.
Fireworks, and we might get
a yacht.
A laser machine.
Remember to leave any of your questions or comments in the description box down below, and perhaps we will answer them in another episode of Dream Home Reno. In the meantime, I would love to know in the comments, what did you guys think of that green color that we picked for the guest room? Well, I'm not gonna say we picked, Chad picked. And also, what do you think of the art positioning? You see, we basically took the furniture from our old room and put it into the new room. Well, at least the headboard and the artwork, the side tables were new. But Chad decided to put one painting on the side of the wall and one painting over the bed. I wasn't home when he made that decision. It wouldn't have been my choice. So I'd love to know, do you guys agree with Chad's art placement, or do you like my idea of putting both pieces side by side, like how he had it in our old bedroom? And you know, any other thoughts or comments that you have, questions about paint colors or why we chose what we chose, feel free to let us know. All right, that's it. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy St. Paddy's Day. That's coming on Monday. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.